There's no fucking way the minimal effective dose is squatting 5 to 6 times a fucking week when everybody else I know has been squatting once a week for the past 40 fucking years. You're not the outlier. That was fun. We are on a road trip and we're doing a table talk without the table. And I'm driving and I suck at driving and it's raining, which is going to compound my ability to suck even more so. So I figured I'd turn this thing on live, and I got this really stupid cup holder foam mount. So I'm totally all hashtag Instagram now. So enjoy, I suppose. So the next question is, question is about over elaborate squat, bench, and deadlift setups. Whatever happened to just getting to the bar and lifting the weight? I guess the first thing I can say with that is there were always people doing over elaborate setups. One of the first meets I ever competed in, it was one of the coolest things I ever saw in my life. Some dude got in a 3-point football stance, charged the squat bar and whapped himself in the head. Bled all over the platform. But that was a rare thing. And and it never happened in training. You know, so it's like the only time you ever saw people do any kind of over elaborate shit was in a meet. And then even then it wasn't that much. Now we got dance routines and all kinds of other shit, which I'm not really sure what that's for, except, you know, your Instagram signature. Instead of a hashtag, you got an arm flip, you know, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. I can't really rant about it because I don't really care, and it doesn't make me that mad, but go ahead. Have your deadlift dance, your squat square dance, and your bench press. What's a dance for begins with a B? Ballet. Your ballet bench press, square dance squat, and what was the deadlift one?
Dance around.
Dance around deadlift. There you go. Fucking hashtag it. All right, what we got? How bloated is too bloated? When you can't see. You can be so bloated that all you see are slits in your eyes from the person looking at you, from the outside looking in, but if you can still see them, you're still good. So color, purple, face, round, eyes, slits, ears, they should look like they're sucking into your head. Sausages on the back of your head. That's really about it. I mean, if you can't see, then you probably have taken it a little bit too far.
Why is it so hard for people to understand the passion for people say they can't work because they have so much practice, hockey practice, normal, but it's
Why is it so hard for people to understand the passion that people have for lifting weights? You know, the question was posed in such a way that people have no problem if you have to do something, or if you have to miss something because of football practice or basketball practice, wrestling practice, but if you tell them that you have to train, you know, then they all of a sudden have problems with that. Why is it a problem that it's a problem? I mean, if you really have a passion for lifting the weights, is this really a fucking problem? You know, so my question is, are you really passionate about it, or are you just, who gives a fuck? I mean, if it's something that you have to do, then why are you worried about what other people think about it? When I played football, if I had to miss family dinner because I had football practice, I really wasn't too fucking concerned what my parents thought about me missing family dinner. So there's two sides of the coin here. You know, so why do you give a fuck? You know, of course, I mean, if you're married to the person, then maybe you should have a discussion about it. But if it's just random people who are saying stuff, who cares?
Why people hate
Who hates gaining weight? That's like a new thing.
You used to be lean though back before West Side, right?
Yeah, I mean, Louis had to talk me into gaining weight, so I guess I got to go back. And I guess I can only answer it from people that I've personally known. I didn't want to leave the 242 class before I came to West Side because I never put my best lifts together in that weight class, which was a difference of like 150 pounds on what my total should have been. And what I didn't realize at the time is that deficit's pretty much always there, you know, even when you're done, or even if you speak to, you know, the all-time world record holders, and if you look at their lifts, there's still a little bit they left on the platform, or they never put all their best lifts together. It's such a rare thing to do that it kind of comes with the territory. That this weekend I was having a conversation that you know, if somebody wants to squat 500 pounds on a platform, then they probably need to be capable of squatting 550, you know, to squat that 500. That doesn't mean you're going to squat the 550, but your strength probably needs to be capable of that, because that's just kind of the nature of the game. What I didn't understand was at my height, my leverages were not optimal at the 242. So we all have, you know, God-given bone structure and tendon attachments and, you know, all the other anatomy, physiology, you know, biomechanics that we all have. But those can somewhat change to a degree by gaining weight. You know, it's so for me, going to 275 made a little bit of a difference, but not enough. You know, it wasn't until I got to about 290 that I felt I started to come into my own as far as leverages and how I felt during the lifts. So that, I think, is probably why people have a hard time gaining weight, because they feel like they have unfinished business in whatever weight class that they're in. From my own personal experience and the people I know, vanity's never been one of those reasons. I mean, if they're in the sport to power lift, they're in the sport to lift the biggest fucking weights they can. So how they looked really wasn't that big of a deal. But I'm speaking from, you know, my own history. And so, you know, if somebody has a hard time gaining weight and you're really concerned with why they have a hard time gaining weight, or why they have a hard time wanting to gain weight, and this really bothers you, then maybe you should sit down and have a conversation with them about it. You know, I don't know why it bothers you, but it's just one less person to compete against if you get fat.
Hitting better squat and deadlift the same day every day, 85%.
Hitting the squat, bench, and deadlift at 85% for threes every day, all the way up into the meet, and then calling that hardcore, I call that being a hardcore dumb fucking ass. There's everything in training is debated. You know, everything in training is debatable. You know, it's in one form or another. I mean, you can find one study and then another study is going to contradict that study, but you still have to fucking recover, regardless if training more frequently is going to teach your body to recover faster, or if it's not, you still have to fucking recover. If you're not recovering, then you're not going to make the progress that should be optimal. And from somebody that suffered from wear and tear, and went damn near 20 years squatting every Friday with really never missing a Friday squat session, and that's only once a week. There's something in training called, the minimal effective dose. You want to do the least amount that you can possibly do to gain the greatest outcome. To me, if I'm working with somebody or consulting with somebody and they have something in their training program that they can't justify, then it's too much. So if they're squatting at 85% for triples 5 days a week and they can't justify why they're doing that, they shouldn't fucking do it, because they don't even know why they're doing it. And whatever that justification has to be, it has to make sense. And to me, it has to make sense falling back to the minimal effective dose. Like, do you know for a fact that squatting 5 times is going to help you more than squatting 3? Have you tried to squat 3? Or 1? Or whatever the fuck it's going to be. It's not hardcore. It's just fucking stupid, because it tells me that you've not done any type of experimentation to figure out what the minimal effective dose is, because there's no fucking way the minimal effective dose is squatting 5 to 6 times a fucking week when everybody else I know has been squatting once a week for the past 40 fucking years. You're not the outlier. That was fun. The fuck would want to squat 6 days a week?